Hey folks, thanks for joining. I guess let's discuss and finalize the competition. I think as Steve pointed out in the Slack, there's some problems with the Math Olympiad, although they have just, I think, a day or two back reinstated the competition. But I think still there are only 15 teams or so because of all these problems. The other choice that Steve pointed out was the automated essay grading. I looked into it actually. I thought we had done something similar. It turns out that that wasn't the case. What we actually did was weigh the arguments presented and judged some categories of essays. So it wasn't just simple grading of essays, automated grading like this competition turns out to be. Any comments, Steve, Mayank, or Yuri?
Yeah, like I just looked at the math one quickly, and yeah, like so, like at the time, all the submissions were shut, and there's like controversy going on because people were probing the leaderboard because of the fact that like they'd given out like early prizes or whatever for if you reached a certain score in a short amount of time, and so I think people were creating like multiple accounts and taking advantage of the whole situation. So I think that's why they'd locked it all down. And then people were moaning because like now they've in the submissions you have to have them, or it asks them in like a random order, and people are like saying it's like taking them ages to do their submissions now because of it. So that's why I'd like to see what else was happening.
Yeah, no, I think the other problem that I saw, which could also be a pain in debug, and I've been frustrated whenever this kind of thing happens where you can't debug anything because in the final state something goes wrong and you don't know what, because there isn't any debug capability. The other thing that they've done is limited the, typically we have 5 submissions a day and they've limited it to 2. So you can only make 2 submissions in any given 24 hours.
Yeah.
All kinds, I mean, the poor guys were trying to do the right thing, but I think people just kind of subverted the system by probing and all this. And in fact, it's you have to get verified if you want to enter the competition and all these kinds of fancy stuff. So I'm okay with going with, and because of all those reasons, I can see that the number of competing teams has just dropped precipitously. Right now, at least, it only shows like 15 teams.
Really? Yeah. That's maybe because of the fact. Oh yeah, so yeah, because like now as well, they've like started asking people to show ID or whatever to join the competition. I think you have to take your passport in or something. All these
like
teams. I think people had like multiple accounts.
And all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, they were trying to do the right thing by saying, since it's hard, maybe you can kind of reward the early people who submitted and got a good score, 20 out of 50 or whatever. And I think it's kind of somewhat of a depressing thing that people kind of did all these hokey things to get, what's the point of doing leaderboard probing to get 20 out of 50? I mean, it does not. It's a meaningless
because of the fact they were giving you $10,000 or something. That's why.
Yeah, they got, and anybody who thinks that somebody who is on Kaggle and running a competition is not going to figure out you did it the wrong way is just stupid. I mean, if anything, you're just setting yourself up to be made fun of and never hired or never get anything, let alone the $10,000 by doing all these ridiculous stuff. But I guess people will be people.
Why is the prize money in that competition so much?
Yeah, it's about $1 million or something, but it's apparently
Is that
run by
from
a,
Kaggle?
sorry?
Is that from Kaggle? Because I remember when we did the Vesuvius one, the scroll thing. Yeah, like it had like about £1 million
Yeah, no,
or $1 million prize, but like that's because
yeah,
of the fact that there was like an external competition going on as well.
yeah, yeah. Actually, this is run by a investment firm, if you look into it. And that's, I thought that, they are probably, and by the way, they have an early sharing prize winner who is legitimate. This guy did some legitimate work, so
Yeah,
I'm happy to see that. But if you look at the overview and who is running it, there's all these. But the other thing which is conditional, by the way, about the competition is that it's only if people get up to 47 or 50 or something. So it's conditional on getting to a particular level.
right.
Right? At least that.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. But anyway, yeah, see, this is a market firm.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking they're probably looking for people who would do this and then give them job offers or something.
Yeah, so like perhaps, I don't know, perhaps the competition there has stabilized itself and is okay now, but yeah, certainly during the week it was having
Yeah,
like
but
a lot of problems.
yeah. No, I'm still hesitant. I mean, primarily because it looks like you would need to do a lot of work offline because
Yeah.
ultimately the people are using LLMs to solve it, and then you need to get all the LLMs running, and that would mean you run everything offline and then just kind of do the final inference submission here. And I mean, that basically means people with lots of compute, and then you're limited to 2 submissions. So all kinds of, like you say, if also it takes forever to run. I mean, it's just like setting yourself up for frustration. I really liked the idea, but it's just like a pain, I think, to get into it and then bang your head against something. This one, on
Yeah,
the
because
other hand, is,
yeah, the math one as well, I noticed like it looks as if they don't actually give you a training data set. You've got to go off and find your own. So like as you say, like people will go off and the people who can collect the most data and process the most data are going to win it. Yeah, so like this
yeah,
one here, the
exactly.
reason I sort of suggested that, basically I just went and like looked to see what Chris Diot was up to, and this is the competition he's
Yeah.
moved to.
Yeah, I see a lot of his posts right here.
Yeah, so I like doing the competitions he does because he tends to put up a lot of stuff.
Yeah. No, and there's, it is fairly, uh, there isn't a huge data problem. Moreover, they do, meaning the data size. And at the same time, they provide a large amount of data.
Yeah,
And in addition, I think you can also get data from the previous competitions. I think, yeah, like he says here. Right. So not only 24,000, but another 17,000.
yeah, yeah. So like there was this competition. I saw another competition started 3 days ago, I think it is, but I haven't even looked at it. Just noticed it one had just begun.
Is that um, the bio thingy?
No, it's the one at the right. The
This thing?
us no to the right.
This one?
That one. Yeah, see, it's 3 months to go.
Oh, I thought we do something similar before. I thought this is this is something a repeat. No,
I don't know. We
um,
did it. We did some patent thing, did
because
we?
I thought didn't we do a I thought we did a patent one before. In fact, humor me a minute. 3 months. Is this something recently, 3 days ago? Yeah. This seems a little bit different because this goes on till, I guess, July, and that's interesting. Who is running it? Because here is, let's do this. Slack while. Okay, featured your work. We did a yeah, this was the one that I thought we were doing, but this is slightly different. Sorry, this one, where we were predicting effective arguments. This one was the one we did. That's the one that I was thinking of. Phrase-to-phrase matching. Right? Because this symbol kind of reminded me of what we were up to. But this guy is not the same, right? It's more, it's patent related, I guess, but what is it? So we have to generate a model that generates a query given an input set of related patterns. Input set of related patterns, I see. So it says that there's a pattern and then there's a group of related patterns. You have to output, I don't know what a Boolean query is, but okay. That returns the same set of pattern documents. So how big is the data set? Whoa. The heck.
Right. Yeah. Don't think my my Google Drive is enough space for that.
And I mean, it's like, 100 gig, and even that I kind of tend to hammer it down and stuff periodically.
Yeah.
It looks nice, but that's what sometimes these things kind of kill you.
How big's the data in the essay competition one?
Oh, that's very small. Megabytes.
All right.
Yeah. That's the problem with some of these things. I think the math one is small too, which is the reason originally we thought that would be okay, but all these, see,
no, as I say,
but then, like you said, that's because they don't give you any data. So
yeah, you have to go and get it yourself. So
yeah, and then you are spending your time hunting data and trying to massage it to get it into the form and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, pretty much the person with the most data is going to win the competition.
Yeah, and training time externally, and then the size of the model, like Llama 3 or whatever is the latest and greatest, open source models, and the training compute that you can throw at it and stuff. And I'm just like, oh man, then it just kind of takes away most of the initiative of competing.
not sure
Any
if my
thoughts,
mic,
Yuri or Mayank?
I'm not sure if my mic is working.
Go ahead, Yuri.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can,
Okay.
Yuri.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So on the pattern competition, so I don't know if you got a chance to read kind of the data tab. If you scroll down, it kind of describes what the competition is. Basically, pattern professionals, if you scroll a little bit you scroll even more to generation, text search nodes. Yeah, so basically, pattern professionals don't trust fancy new models. They've been doing pattern searches with sort of SQL-like searches, what they call Boolean, and a bunch of other rules. So they want to basically see can queries that would work be mapped into those rules, so they can validate when they issue a pattern. They want to be able to validate that yes, it maps to query we would have written by hand. Yeah, so it's a very different. It's sort of mapping deep learning results into traditional database
Standard
mesh.
information retrieval techniques, I guess.
Yeah.
Traditional information retrieval.
Yeah.
In my work, we were looking at something similar. Like we were sort of going to use AI to generate SQL statements and whatever, but we decided it was too risky, that nobody would want, because of the fact that you could like put in really like malicious stuff into your database. We decided that nobody would want to use it.
On in the generative AI group, about a few months ago, somebody was showing the system that they did for that, and basically it when you was using RAG, it worked fairly decently. Like it worked 80-90% of the time, but then they kind of surrounded it, so you could sort of generate only the right queries. So they actually built the system, using that. But it was more of a demo. I don't think it went anywhere.
Yeah, I think there are many quote unquote startups or people attempting to auto generate that, but I haven't really seen any successful scalable solutions, because at the end of the day, I think I'm seeing in many instances, not all, but certain instances, it's like this. I'm drawing an analogy here, but like this, ultimate level 5 automatic driving. I mean, you can asymptotically approach it, but people give up because it's just impossible for the last mile, if you will. And then because of that, you might as well just stay at safer levels. And it's that kind of an argument, I think, in many instances. And I feel that the SQL generation is another instance of that, where you could probably get to 80%, 90% of your benefit by having a dedicated assistant type of thing, which will help you, rather than trying to go 100% automatic and then failing, or in a variety of ways that then scare you, because you are never certain under which conditions you have failed, and you don't know that, and that's scarier than if you were just to kind of use some assistant. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that seems to be the case in a few cases. But so Mayank or Yuri, any thoughts on this? The Learning Agency Lab competition, and we can kind of get going on that one. In time-wise, and I think it started about 3 weeks, but we still have plenty of time left.
So I saw two
Data
other
is simple enough.
I saw two other competitions. I was busy at work the last few months, so I just came back to Kaggle. There's one competition that just started, the Leap, run by Leap, which is the climate organization, which we have it here in New York as well. So that's an interesting competition to basically they have climate models that are not machine learning models, that are really they're like atmospheric models with I forgot what techniques are called, but they sort of split the world and then do very precise simulations. And they've been trying to replace either parts of them or the whole models with machine learning models. So this is part of that process. The data itself is pretty big, I think, but then people learn how to reduce it immediately.
Yeah, I saw this too, and it was kind of interesting because it's actually part of some conference thing. But again, yeah, like you say, I looked at the data size and I was like, oh my God, no.
Yeah, but then somebody posted a notebook how to reduce it to 17 gigabytes. But
oh really?
Yeah, and so that was I thought that was interesting competition. I'm not sure if I wanted to get it kind of, I don't know. I'm not sure if I want to do it or not, but in theory, I should have advantage because I've done similar stuff. And then there's another competition, which again, it started a while ago. It's also part of CVPR. It's called GeoCliff. Not BirdCliff, but GeoCliff.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
So it's based on, I think it's only Europe based, and you need to predict. No, not BioCliff. I think it's called GeoLife Cliff.
This one.
Yep. So you need to. It's only based on Europe, so kind of geography is variant, but the seasonality is the same. So you almost the same, but you need to predict whether plant species would be found at location and time of the year.
Yeah, I looked at this one too. The only reason this didn't interest me was because of the time left. Because before we can get going, it is kind of shut down.
Yeah.
I like this one because the data is not, I don't think, too big. And like you say, other things, but I just wish there was more time. Yeah, I like this one too, or at least when I looked, I was like, okay, this seems good, but then the timing doesn't work out. So, and I like the fact that it was part of the CVPR and stuff, because then it gives a kind of a real grounding to it and stuff too. So I really like this, as you mentioned.
But apparently they run it every year. I think I've seen it previously in CVPR. I'm not sure if they ran. I think they ran it on Kaggle, but they were not opening it up. I think data was on Kaggle, but I'm not sure if it was private or not.
I see.
Before, but yeah, I've seen the results. I think on CVPR before, but that's a different kind of. That's an interesting model. Again, similar to what I was doing before. That's why it looked interesting.
Yeah, no, this one definitely looks interesting, and the data is not that big. It's too big. You can still handle it and stuff, but yeah, the main reason I didn't was more from the point of view of timing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'd prefer to do a competition with at least 2 months left.
Yeah.
Like this one here, I don't think I had enough time to get up and running.
Yeah. It takes about, I don't know, minimum of 2-3 weeks to like really get a handle on all the nuances, and then you have about a month left to try the various techniques and learn from it. So I think from those standpoints is where I wish the math competition weren't, and even the PTO one sounds interesting, but I can't imagine myself banging against, huge gigabytes of data and then trying stuff from outside, and you spend so much time on those things that there's pretty much no time left to really do anything on the competition. Although, I mean, I think there is a counter argument recently in some other forum that I was participating in, and I'll see whether I can find and post the link to that. But some guy was saying, that pretty much all the LLMs these days are all kind of giving about similar results no matter what you do, but ultimately what differentiates any of them seems to be not, or at least this guy's argument was that it's not the architecture, not the size of the model, given a particular range, or not anything else, but the quality of the data that the model is exposed to, which I thought, it seemed a bit extreme. A lot of people weighed in saying, I don't quite buy the extremity of your statement, but it was an interesting discussion. He seems to be arguing that, the data and cleaning up the data and getting the data of very high quality ultimately determines how well your model does. But anyway, be that as it may, I think we should probably jump into this one then. What do you think, Mayank? You've been quiet.
Let's try this. If it suits all parties, then yeah, we can go ahead.
Yeah. Either helping out teachers or, God forbid, we are putting teachers out of work, which is not what I want to do, but maybe helping them grade more essays. Okay, so we can kind of see what people have posted on this one. Have you made any submissions, Steve, on this one by any chance, or?
No, I hadn't actually joined any competition. I was waiting to see what the vote was going to be. So yeah, I didn't want to join another competition before we decided. And yeah, I just haven't really had a chance. I haven't really looked at it.
Okay, so we'll just spend a few minutes and then maybe get going next week when people have had more of a chance. But yeah, I also, by the way, I also was thinking that, much like I mentioned before, I'd like to continue what we started with the last competition. I'll create a Google Drive page and share with you folks. Let me show, I think Mayank and Steve know what I'm talking about, but Yuri, you weren't there. So let me share what we did in the previous competition. I think the reason for this is so that we can kind of create a collective memory, if you will. Let's see where is it in Kaggle? This one. So I created a document and shared with folks. So you can feel free to update the document if you're participating in the competition. The purpose of it being kind of generating a collective group memory of key things we learned, not every little thing, but some things that different people found was interesting. Like, for example, in this one, we said, hey, why do we use group K-fold or stratify group K-fold? And, you know, the post was from Chris. And then some information on clipping if you're using spectrograms, transforming inputs to be good for neural networks, or to transform, then pre-trained weights, what to do, some efficient models, some things on computer vision stuff, something specific to processing EEGs, doing time frequency analysis, things like that relevant to competition. And then towards the end, I kind of just posted some key things that I found from some of the, not every thing, only whatever my bandwidth, first, second place, and third place, eighth place, and few notes like that. So I'll create a similar kind of stuff. If you can, I think I have mine in Steve's email. If you can send me on DM on Slack your email, I'll add you to the stuff. Similarly, I'll create one for this competition as well. And the reason I was saying that is, for example, I think it would be useful, I don't remember a thing about it, but to look back at this competition and see what we did and whether anything that we did from this competition is stuff that we can reuse for the current competition. Because I think generating a lot of the features for judging ought to be similar. Although in this case, we are looking at arguments classification into different categories, and the loss is different. But I think since it's, we say grading, it's just effective arguments versus just 1 to 6 grade of how good the essay is, but could be relevant. Something I intend to go back and take a look at, see what we did there. And I think even in that case, the Berta model was the one that was most people ended up using. I guess they're also trying to see whether you can use, instead of classifying it into 6 classes, whether you use regression and kind of maybe, you know, snap to the closest value, if you will. In a way that may be better because it kind of gives you this ability to smoothen out, if you will, or snap to the closest value. Yeah, this is the other thing which I think Raquel often mentions, and I think it is a valuable stuff, is how do you create kind of a quick flywheel of experimentation using small data sets that allow you to experiment very quickly, but then, you know, once you get some of the key parameters or key features right, then you can scale it up and apply it to the entire data set or whatever. Interesting. There are some good pointers in this one. Let's see what else. There's additional training data, 10,000 new student essays that we can train on. I guess this is boost versus the various boosting things. Creating ensembles. Okay, what else? Oh, Mistral 7B. How do we do that?
What's Mistral 7B?
That's the large language model, the open source language model from Mistral, the French guys.
All right, I hadn't heard of this one.
Yeah, there's, in fact, they have done multiple ones. They came out with, wasn't this, which, if you recall, which one were we doing? A couple of competitions back, we were, you know, the question, the science exam one. I thought in that one, the Mistral 70 billion was the one that a guy used. You remember that one guy who figured out how to run the 70 billion model by stage by stage?
Oh, yeah. I remember the notebook. I didn't remember what model he was using.
Yeah, that is Mistral 70 billion, I thought, if I'm not mistaken. Because those are the open source models where, you know, you don't have to go through the API, so you can kind of create, you can kind of download the weights of the model and use them. And I thought that's what the guy was doing, but with Mistral 70 billion, if I recall correctly. Do you recall that, Mayank? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Mistral 7B, I think so. We'll have to search for the model card there. It is in the Hugging Face. If you look for it, the Mistral 7B version 0.1, it's in the Hugging Face. So I'm looking at that.
Yeah, no, but what's good about it is, you know, if he has figured this out, then another thing we can do is Gamma is also open source, right? We can also use Gamma and try that to 2 billion or 7 billion, which is the Google open source version of the model of their. So, and then I think the latest in the, of course, there is the Llama 3 as well, but not the bigger size ones, right? Do they have Llama 3 smaller size ones? Mine, do you know?
Llama 3 is 8 billion.
I see.
So I was thinking of fine-tuning that to accompany this.
So things like that, right? But it would be interesting to kind of, you know, in the process, we learn to play, fine-tune those models too.
Yes.
Yeah, see, here's a good blog about fine-tuning LLMs. Cool. So that's kind of stuff, you know, the competition gives you an opportunity to do these things, which are not directly related, but somewhat related. So you have a motivation and you can also learn other things. That's good. Cool. So there are plenty of things to start playing around with. And people are already at like 0.818 or something too on this. I'm sure it will go way up. 8.2.
Yeah, so it looks good. The fact that, like there's like there's enough sort of EDA stuff about and starter stuff. So, and there's still
Yeah,
enough time
and
left in the
variety of stuff
competition.
too. Right, variety too, because there is the XDBs and Deberta and LLMs and fine-tuning open LLMs, open source. So yeah, I like it. Good deal. So let's go for this one. And since there's not much people have looked at, let's not waste too much time. We'll probably, by next week, we should have spent some time on it to be able to discuss some things intelligently. All right.
Sounds
Anything
good.
else, Mayank or Yuri? Or should we call it
Oh, no.
and meet next week? Good deal. Thanks for joining. We'll see you all next week.
Cool. See you next week.
Oh,
Cheers.
bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.